Hello, Oilers fans. Austin here, and welcome to today's day after discussion of the Oilers' 2-0 victory over the New York Rangers last night. It was an ugly game at different points. It was very hard to watch as a fan, just based on what was happening on the ice. The puck was bouncing around. The officiating was a little off for both teams, especially for the Oilers. Not saying that the Oilers deserved power plays. What I mean is the Oilers were getting away with a lot. I think Rangers fans will probably come in here and be like, yeah, I think we probably should have had more than 2 power plays. It was a strange game, a game that Stuart Skinner was locked in right from the get-go. He had to make some big saves in that first period. Oilers puck management was completely whack, and then Chris Knobloch had the line blender going, and he continues to have the line blender going at practice today. So in today's day after discussion, I'm going to talk about the 3 standouts from last night for Edmonton, the 2 not so standouts for the team, and then we'll take a look at the projected lineup for the game tomorrow against the New York Islanders, because just before I hit the record button here, Bob Stauffer posted the lines, and there's a couple interesting things happening, a couple things I do want to talk about. As much as I love Chris Knobloch, there are always things that he does that kind of just irks me a little bit. And the lineup for tomorrow against the Islanders is something that is already irking me. So if you end up enjoying this video, hit the like button if you really like it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Daily content here on the Austin Hockey YouTube channel. We also hit 7,600 subscribers overnight, so thank you all so much for your support. We are getting very, very close to 8,000, and then, of course, we'll get closer to 9, and then 10,000 subs, and I cannot wait for that. It's going to be great. Also, yes, I did forget the victory chain last night that is hanging up behind me there. So gifted memberships for tomorrow's live stream against the New York Islanders. My apologies for forgetting that victory chain, but you have to forgive me because it did not feel like the Oilers even won that game with how they played. They have to play much better. So let's talk about the standouts, the not so standouts. Up next, last night the Oilers beat the Rangers 2-0. They had a 39.43 expected goals for percentage at 5-on-5, and they were outchanced 14-3. High danger chances were 14-3 in favor of the Rangers and all strengths. At even strength, it was 10-3. The Oilers, of course, did not get a power play. Pretty brutal showing, almost the complete opposite of what happened the other night against the Vancouver Canucks, where the Oilers completely dominated play. They dominated the high danger chances. So yeah, Stuart Skinner had to make big saves last night. Of course, the Oilers up next is on Thursday, tomorrow night against New York Islanders, 5:30 p.m. on Sportsnet. And also you can tune into my live stream that I'll be doing during the game. Looking forward to that. My standouts last night, I don't think there's any surprise to see Stuart Skinner on the standout list today. 30 saves for the shutout, a plus 3.86 goals save above expected. That is one of the best performances that Stuart Skinner has had, not just in the past year or so, but basically in his entire career. There are not many games where he has come close to that plus almost 4 goals saved above expected. He had a terrific night last night against the New York Rangers, and for someone that is as hard on Stu as I am, I will always give him his flowers, and it is also about seeing what can he do following up a good performance. We know he usually bounces back after a bad performance like he did against the Rangers after that first game against Calgary. He played very well against the Rangers. Can he follow this up? We don't need another plus 4 goals saved above expected performance. We don't need another shutout, but is he able to carry some of this momentum? If you believe in momentum carrying from game to game, a lot of people do, a lot of people don't. Can Stuart Skinner provide the Oilers with a chance to win tomorrow night against the Islanders? That is going to be a big question here. I know there's a lot of fans out there that are obviously very happy with Stu's performance last night, but they don't want to get themselves too excited because they know Stu historically tends to have those ups and downs, right? He's either Dominik Hasek, Vezina level candidate, or he is AHL caliber, probably shouldn't be in the NHL level caliber. So for Stuart Skinner, last night was a great game. Let's see if he can build on that. A little bit of confidence early in the season. It's not often that we get these performances from Stu in October. We're usually used to seeing these in December, January, February. Those are kind of the months that Stu starts to lock in, and usually the team gets into a rhythm as well. So for the Oilers, they are 2-0-1 on the season. Stuart Skinner has his first win of the year. The Oilers, for the most part, have done well defensively. They're not giving up a lot of goals, and Stuart Skinner is a big reason for that. So if you go back to that Calgary game too, now that I'm thinking about it, Stuart Skinner has really only given up, one goal? Like one actual goal that was kind of purposely shot through him. Like one goal that I thought was bad. Because against Calgary Flames, that first goal, kind of fluky. It went off of Noah Phillips' leg. Nothing he could really do. The second goal, You can argue it was a high stick. There wasn't enough conclusive evidence in the video review to call it a high stick, but it's one of those plays where the puck is high, it's batted out of the air and into the net. It's a tough one to blame Stu on. The third goal, obviously not a good goal at all, where he just stops it at his feet and then stares at it. And I don't know. And even Bouchard's like, I don't know what Stu wants from me here. And then the puck is shoved through him. So for Stuart Skinner, he hasn't really been giving up goals on actual shots, meaningful shots towards him. So that is a good sign. That is a positive here to take out of his performance last night against the Rangers. And as long as he doesn't have any crazy mental gaffes, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better about Stu early in the year. Of course, we had the Dark Stu cutout on the stream last night. If he does get the start tomorrow, which I do believe he is, Dark Stu will remain on the screen at all times, just like the kitty cam. Looking forward to that. I know we all love having Dark Stu on the screen. The next standout for me was Mattias Ekholm. He had no points. He had 20.46 of time on ice and a 64.62 expected goals for percentage for a team that did not generate a whole lot last night. Oh, hello, Mochi. Hello, honey. We have a Mochi coming to say hello. She wants to be the star and the queen. But for Mattias Ekholm, and for a team that did not generate very many high danger chances last night, for a team that was not really, pushing the offense for Edmonton, Mattias Ekholm, he was doing all the right things. He carries a 64 expected goals for percentage. That is fantastic. And it goes without saying, his block near the end of the game, there was a tic-tac-toe play when the Rangers had their net empty, and Mattias Ekholm read that puck was about to come in front to Zibanejad, and Mattias Ekholm made a terrific diving poke towards Zibanejad, and I'm pretty sure the puck went off of Ekholm and it went wide of the net. That was a massive defensive play for Mattias Ekholm. It kept the game in the Oilers' favor. It kept the Oilers with their 1-0 lead. It didn't force Stu to have to make another high-danger save, which he had to do pretty much frequently throughout the night. Mattias Ekholm had a fantastic game for Edmonton. That is vintage Mattias Ekholm. Obviously, there's always been concerns since his injury last year, the way he played in the Stanley Cup final, where he wasn't near 100%. And then with his age, can he bounce back? He signs his contract extension, which I think is very team-friendly, by the way, and he steps up. And early this season, Ekholm has been phenomenal. I've had zero issues with Mattias Ekholm's play. He has looked like he has not lost a step at all, and the Oilers are going to have a lot of success this season if Mattias Ekholm plays like he did last night. That was a vintage Ekholm performance. Ekholm is one of the big reasons why Stu was able to get a shutout last night, and for Ekholm and Bouchard, too, that whole pairing. Bouchard earlier in the third period made a great play. There was a puck that went off of Stu. Stu kind of dove across his crease to make the save. It goes behind the net, and I forget which Ranger was there, had an open net on the back door if he could have got it there, but Evan Bouchard read the play well, got his stick and body in the way, did not allow a shot. Mattias Ekholm and Evan Bouchard was Edmonton's top defense pair last night. The stats show it, and the on-ice metrics show it, and of course, Bouchard had one giveaway, I think, in the first period, where I was like, that's not great. But other than that, I thought he played good. Ekholm, I thought he played great. I thought Ekholm was the best player on the ice for Edmonton, not named Stuart Skinner last night. And then my third standout is David Tomaszek. He did not have a point. He only had 10:42 time on ice. But again, when he was on the ice, the play was more in the Rangers zone. The Oilers were generating a little bit more than they were giving up. Tomaszek finished with a 57.17 expected goals for percentage. I'd like to see Tomaszek get a little bit more ice time. I'd like to see him get a little bit more opportunity. I like his forecheck. I like his play style. I like his tenacity on pucks. I like his skating, and I like his on-ice awareness. He always seems to find a teammate when maybe, other teammates aren't going to be able to make a certain play. I find David Tomaszek is always making something happen. I thought he was a standout despite his limited time on ice last night. Now, when it comes to my not-so-standouts, Troy Stecher was a not-so-standout. He had a couple just awful giveaways last night, and he took a bad penalty as well. He had 0 points, 15.55 time on ice, and only a 30.61 expected goals for percentage. Troy Stecher, it is his first game of the season. He has been inserted into the lineup because Alec Regula is not playing right now. Alec Regula is being given a little bit of time off after a couple hard hits that he took from Evander Kane against the Vancouver Canucks. So Regula, we don't expect him back until probably this weekend or so, somewhere around there. concussion spotter pulled Regula on Saturday against New York. So hopefully Regula is good to go Saturday or Sunday. If not, hopefully he's good to go when the Oilers come back home next Thursday against the Montreal Canadiens. But for Troy Stecher, man, a lot to be desired last night for his play. Hopefully he can play much better against the Islanders. I found him and Nurse did not look good together. I thought Darnell Nurse played pretty good overall, other than the fact that Nurse, for some reason, fell behind his net after holding the puck to reset it for like a full minute. He's waiting for his teammates to reset and get on the ice, and then Nurse just decided to fall down. That was an interesting play. Not sure I recommend doing that very often, but for Troy Stecher, I did not think he looked comfortable last night. I thought he was bobbling pucks. I thought he was trying to rush plays too much, and I didn't like his game last night. One of those games, it's a 1-game sample for him. That's his first game of the season. So we're not going to be too harsh on Troy Stecher, but he is one of my not so standouts for those reasons that I listed. And then Jack Roslovic, oh boy, the fans are going to come at me now. Poor Jack Roslovic. Again, a lot of this is based on the stats. A lot of this is based on what I also saw. Roslovic had 0 points. He only played 13-10 time on ice last night. I think his ice time was a little bit limited because it is his first game of the season. It is important to remember, he did not get a preseason. He did not get a training camp because he did not have a contract until opening night, where he signed that 1-year deal with Edmonton on October 8th or October 9th, whatever opening night was. October 8th? I think it was October 8th. Anyways, in any case, Roslovic, his first game of the season, he had an 18.96 expected goals for percentage, and the shot attempts when Roslovic was on the ice, was 20-8 in favor of the Rangers. So obviously it's not all on Roslovic. I thought Roslovic, Nugent-Hopkins, and Savoie just did not have a whole lot of jump last night in general when they were aligned. Once Roslovic got split up, and once he was able to get a couple shifts with Draisaitl, I think he had one shift with McDavid as well. I thought Roslovic and Mangiapane looked a bit better together too. I think once he was able to get away from Nugent-Hopkins, his game started to look a little bit better midway through the second and into the third. But overall, it felt like when Roslovic was on the ice, there was a lot of chances happening against his side and not a whole lot of offense or forecheck happening for the Oilers. So obviously, again, I'm not going to be too harsh on Roslovic. It's his first game of the season, but this is why I do the standouts and not so standouts. It's not that I hated Roslovic's game. We're obviously giving Roslovic a decent amount of runway here to get going, and he just got to improve his on-ice play. So, also the officiating is a not so standout. It was a tough game to watch as a viewer for the Oilers, for the Rangers. I just thought the officiating was strange last night. I'm not picking on the officiating because I usually don't. Like, officiating is what it is, right? In the National Hockey League, I don't think they purposely pick on specific teams. I just think officiating is bad in general. But last night was a game where there wasn't much flow to the game. There wasn't a lot happening between the whistles. The puck was bobbling a lot. Players were falling down. A lot of stick infractions were happening. A lot of holding. A lot of hooking. A lot of sticks in your gut area. A lot of slashing. Nothing was being called until the Oilers made it 1-0, and then the refs went, now we're gonna call penalties. But the Oilers were not the beneficiary of any of them. Why I picked on the officials from last night was that they can influence whether a game is fun to watch or not. And I think just because of how much the Oilers and Rangers were getting away with, it wasn't a fun game to watch. It's not the type of hockey game I like to sit down and watch as a viewer. I hate clutching and grabbing. I think it's bad for the game, and I wish the officials would have called a little bit more last night, if I'm going to be completely honest. But those were my thoughts from the game last night, my standouts, not so standouts. Let me know who your standouts were and who your not so standouts were. Let me know your thoughts overall as we take a look at the projected lineup for the New York Islanders game tomorrow. Now, this was at practice. Bob Stauffer tweeted this out just before I went live. Andrew Mangiapane, Connor McDavid, and David Tomashek on that top line. I love the look of that top line, at least on paper. I like that Tomashek is given an opportunity here. I think he deserves an opportunity to get a look with Connor McDavid. Mangiapane has 2 goals in 3 games. I think it makes sense to have a shooter up there with Connor. On the second line, you have Nugent-Hopkins with Draisaitl and Jack Roslovic. Again, this might be a line on paper that I think looks good. You have Nugent-Hopkins, who I think is better suited as a winger than a centerman at this point in his career. However, I think I would prefer Podkolzin on that line with Leon and Roslovic instead of Nugent-Hopkins. I would prefer Nuge on the third line, but that's not what's happening here. The third line, you have Podkolzin, Frederic, and Kapanen. Now, they did get a goal last night. I felt they had some good moments. I felt they had some not so good moments. I thought Trent Frederick looked a little, he just looks off, like we were joking last night during the live stream that Trent Frederick looked like he just didn't know what he was doing on the ice. It looked like he was just completely lost. We were joking around, telling him to get some smelling salts and get his head in the game, and then he ends up scoring the game winner for Edmonton. So go figure. As soon as you pick on one certain player in oil country, they end up making me look silly. So hopefully that line can continue to find a little bit of success. But this is where I start to have problems. It's this fourth line. Ike Howard, Adam Henrique, and Matthew Savoie. Now, I don't think Matthew Savoie has done anything to warrant being demoted to the fourth line. I think Savoie has not been put in a proper position to succeed so far this season. They had him playing with Nugent Hopkins, and Nuge, as much as I love the Nuge, just can't keep up. Can't keep up with the foot speed. Savoie he's always creating something. And when the puck finds Nugent Hopkins or whoever Savoie has played with, I find they're bobbling them. They're not able to get anything on net. And it's not always Savoie's fault. And I think some of the advanced stats are also skewed negatively because of, the play of certain players that are not named Matthew Savoie. So having Savoie buried on the fourth line now with Ike Howard and Adam Henrique, I don't know how this is even remotely good for your young kids that you're trying to, you're trying to build confidence. You're trying to instill growth in their game. I think sticking them with Adam Henrique, who has done basically nothing this season, obviously empty netter last night. Love to see that. Thank you, Adam Henrique. And he's on the penalty kill, which was very effective last night. So I can't be too mad at Adam Henrique here. Henrique hasn't been awful, but I do prefer other players in the lineup. Noah Philp is still the odd man out. Noah Philp is going to be healthy scratch tomorrow against the Islanders unless something changes from now to tomorrow night at 5:30. I don't like the fourth line. I don't like that the kids are on the fourth line. I think Chris Knobloch is doing this so that he has an excuse for when Janmark is healthy to put Janmark in, Howard out. And then who knows where Savoie is going to end up throughout the season. Obviously, the Oilers have good forward depth after signing Roslovic, but I would have liked to see Savoie get a real opportunity with Draisaitl or McDavid. He did not get a proper chance with either of them. Matthew Savoie didn't get a chance with either of them before he's moved to the fourth line. I just think that's a little bit silly, but again, Chris Knobloch is the head coach. He makes a lot of money to make these decisions. 2 Stanley Cup finals in a row. I can't be too hard on Chris here, but as a fan, because I don't work in hockey ops, I am not part of the organization. I'm not a player. I'm not a scout. As a fan, I don't like these lines. I don't like the fourth line specifically. I don't like Howard for sure. Probably not NHL ready. I'm not too mad about Ike Howard being on the fourth line. He's probably going to get sent to Bakersfield. I think they were going to give him like an 8 or 9 game runway anyways, just to see where he's at and then probably send him down. Matthew Savoie though, that's the one where I'm like, not sure I agree with that. I would have liked to see Savoie get a chance with Leon and Connor. On defense, Ekholm, Bush, Nurse, Stetcher, Kulak, Emberson, and then Wallman's still on the IR, although Wallman has been practicing. I do think Wallman makes it into the lineup sometime this weekend, and then Stu Skinner is likely to get the start against the Islanders tomorrow. Very interesting decisions with the lineup for Chris Knobloch. I can't say I completely agree with the lineup decisions that he's going with. Obviously, we all have our opinions. We all have our thoughts. I just think if you're going to have a guy like Savoie or Howard in the lineup, these are young, skilled, fast players that should be in your top 6, top 9 minimum, but definitely your top 6 for Savoie. Just because Savoie's on-ice IQ is very high. He's good at finding teammates. His speed, his ability to cut off angles and get in and create something out of nothing, I think that warrants his ability in the top 6. I am concerned that Chris Knobloch is doing this to force the issue and make the excuse to send him back to Bakersfield. And I do not want to see that. I think Matthew Savoie is a full-time NHL player, and he should be playing with skill players. He should not be stuck on the fourth line with Adam Henrique. But you also have to make something out of the opportunity you're given, right? You do have to earn things in the NHL. I'm not saying that you don't have to earn it. And whatever ice time that line gets against the New York Islanders, I hope they get on the score sheet. I hope Howard gets a goal. I hope Savoie gets a goal. I hope that they take advantage of this potential opportunity here where it doesn't look like it's an opportunity, but this is maybe a little kick in the butt for some of these players too, right? It might be one of those motivational things where, some players, they either crumble and they get mad and they pout and they don't produce, or This is a situation and an opportunity for these players to dig in, dig deep, look themselves in the mirror, figure out what they need to work on and improve on, and then go out there and execute the game plan and be a difference maker for Edmonton. Extra depth scoring never hurts. So there are a couple things that could be going on in terms of Kristen Hoblock's mindset here. I also don't like that Noah Philp is not in the lineup. I thought Philp played very good against the Vancouver Canucks, scores his first NHL goal, and then he is just apparently a healthy scratch now. He's getting the Jeff Skinner treatment, so love to see that. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section below. Keep that conversation going, and as always, tell someone that you love them. And fight like a kid, fight like Ben. Let's go Oilers. Let's go Blue Jays. Do the Blue Jays come back? I'm very scared. Very scared. They're not doing so good against Seattle right now. We'll see you soon, Oil Country. I'll see you tomorrow morning for the pregame report, and then I'll see you tomorrow night for the live stream. Take care, and have a good one.